the auditorium. It will take maybe a minute. Can I make a request to all of you to take your seat, to make sure that the mobiles are in switched off mode or in silent mode, so that the function can be smooth. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to IIT Kanpur. It is my pleasant duty to welcome you all to the 54th National Metallurgists Day function of the Indian Institute of Metals. At the outset, I would like to thank all the dignitaries on the dais as well as the delegates for attending this function. I would now request our students and staff members to offer a floral welcome to the dignitaries on the dais. Thank you. I would now request all the dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and declare the function open. Please. Thank you, everyone. I now request our campus school students for the invocation.
वरदे वीणावादनी वरदे वरदे वीणावादनी वरदे प्रिय स्वतन्त्र नव अमृतमन्त्र नव प्रिय स्वतन्त्र नव अमृतमन्त्र
Thank you, students. I now request Dr. Vishwajit Basu, Vice President, Indian Institute of Metals, for his opening remarks.
Honorable Minister Shri Vishnu Devsaiji, Director IIT Kanpur and President Institute of Metals, Professor Indranil Manna, Shri Vartawalji, Professor Anish Upadhyay, Professor Rajiv Shekhar, and Mr. S. K. Roy, delegates, dignitaries, my colleagues, students who are attending this IIM annual meeting and National Metallurgists Day. It's good morning, and first of all, it's my great privilege and honor to be here as a part of the National Metallurgists Day at IIT Kanpur. I think this is a unique period annually where we are able to get the best mind, best experience, best talent from the field of metals and materials in a single location. Who's who of metal and metal industries are here during these 4 days. And that allows have to do a significant amount of deliberation and discussions in the areas of industrial relevance and academic challenges. For the last 3 days, I'm very pleased to see that we had an exciting discussion happens not only on the conventional core material and metal processing, but also some of the emerging technologies like additive manufacturing, and we talked about ICMEs, and also there are a lot of exciting discussion happens on the education and the curricula, with how the curricula should orient as the industry is evolving. I would like to make a couple of points before I just to my closure. The metal and the material industry are basically driving the economy of the world. And we are in a poise to take a very significantly exciting stage today. During the last 30 years, there is the world's population has grown by 2 billion. And what is interesting to notice is that the rate of metal and material consumptions per capita is far higher than the demography. In the next 30 years, we are going to add a similar number of populations of the world, and mostly it's going to happen to Asia and Africa. So we are expecting to see newer products, newer applications, a huge consumer demand for the newer applications of materials and metal will be needed. With India, with the strongest economy, with a 7% GDP growth, we are here today to discuss that there is a tremendous volume of the consumer demand is going to happen in this country for the next, the few decades. And this is where the opportunity lies. And that is where this meeting becomes so important for us. Now, the product, while we are talking about the new product and applications, we must not forget that metal and the material industries contribute to about 10% of the energy consumptions of the global level, and also we kind of contribute to about 1/3 of the global, the greenhouse gas emissions. So therefore, our responsibility to the society remains that the existing technologies, existing processes, existing products, we must be very sustainable in terms of addressing these issues and come up with a technology interventions so that we can address the global impact from the point of view of energy as well as emissions. So therefore, I could see that while we are impacting that, but the focus will shift towards a lot on the innovations of the green process and green product, innovations on the material recyclability, innovations in terms of coming up with a product faster to the markets, and etc. So, the entire the demographic change of the country, as well as the potential opportunity gives a huge growth in the market for the material in one side. But at the same time, there's a lot of challenges which comes from the point of view of environment, point of view of emissions. So this is where I think that there's a significant role that we from the field of metals and materials can play for the country. And what's going to happen slowly is that because it needs a tremendous amount of the working across the boundaries. So therefore, open innovations will be one of the key drivers because a lot of knowledge and a lot of collaborations across the different fields of science and engineering will be needed to address these challenges. So we had, from Industrial Metals, therefore we decided in our council meeting that, we will kind of reach out to different kind of professional societies, keeping these in mind that, we can collectively address these challenges with what the country as well as the nation faces. So therefore, I personally see that Industrial Metal, the kind of role which we are playing, we will getting into a next role of looking into this kind of collaborative working, bringing the newer dimensions in terms of facilitation so that the faster technology demonstration, faster product innovations, and good education happens to the industry. So clearly, I think we from the institute, we are ready. In fact, we are very feel proud that we will be the key stakeholders for this transformational journey of the industry in the next few years. So with these few words, I'd like to thank all of you for coming over here, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind comments. I now request Professor Indranil Manna, President, Indian Institute of Metals, for his address.
Honorable Minister Shri Vishnudev Sai-ji, Mr. Batwal, Joint Secretary Steel, Dr. Vishwajit Basu, Vice President, rest of the dignitaries seated on the dais, off the dais, former presidents of Indian Institute of Metal, the council members, other types of members of the institute, delegates to 54th NMD and 70th ATM, my own colleagues from IIT Kanpur, and friends. It is indeed my proud privilege to greet and welcome you all to this particular event of the 54th National Metallurgists Day celebration on behalf of the Indian Institute of Metals, on behalf of Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur, and on my personal behalf. National Metallurgists Day is truly the crescendo of a very major harmony. And the harmony here is the annual calendar of the Indian Institute of Metals. Since 1962, Ministry of Steel has not only been generous, but also a very careful mentor to the Institute of Metals and asking it to identify the talents in the country in various categories, in various age groups. This particular exercise is not only meant to identify and award, but also celebrate achievements of individuals at various levels. Starting from the younger age of young metallurgists below 35, Metallurgist of the Year until 55 years of age, National Metallurgist until 70, and Lifetime Achievement Award beyond 70. It certainly would not be wrong to say that the entire country's who's who in the area of metallurgy and materials have been decorated by these very prestigious awards. And by doing so, Ministry of Steel has emerged as one of the champions of promoting both knowledge and technology in the country in the niche area of steel. When it started, it was Ministry of Steel and Mines. Now, of course, when I met the Honorable Minister, he asked me why not mines is a part of it. I said, sir, that's government's decision to have two different departments, two different ministries, but mining very much all along was part of metallurgical activities. The Indian Institute of Metals is the single largest beneficiary of this benevolent attitude of the Ministry of Steel. Sir, let me inform you that Indian Institute of Metals is about 11 to 12,000 strong membership professional body, is a registered company since 1946. In all these years, without failure, the Institute organizes an annual event which is called Annual Technical Meeting, ATM, which allows a platform to the professionals, all the way from very senior and celebrated experts to very young students and scholars who are just beginning their journey. So over a 3-day period, in the 70th Annual Technical Meeting at IIT Kanpur, about 700 delegates participated from various parts of the country. And the deliberations took place in 10 different symposia under 75 parallel sessions, which allowed 372 oral papers to be presented, and about 350 posters and several metallography entries. Yesterday, one of my good friend from ISRO complimented me, actually wanted to convey a compliment from one of his colleagues. He said, Prasamanna, we are very happy this time that the youngest scientist of ISRO got a chance to present his paper in an oral session. And I thought that was the most gratifying compliment I have received over the last 3 days. This was our intention, that there are platforms, there are conferences where very celebrated scientists are invited to give talks, and we all listen with very keen interest. But IIM wants to offer a platform to the youngest or the younger generation so that they acquire the courage and interest to come and present their innovation. Indian Institute of Metals today has 53 chapters all over the country. I just mentioned that we have 12,000 membership, but in our opinion, this is certainly not enough. We have a long way to go, so we deliberated in the council and we pledged that the membership should grow, the membership should remain connected with the headquarters and head office, and take active part in all activities of the institute. And for that reason, we need not only to try to reach out physically, but we also need to create a very good network which hierarchically will be headed by the head office in Calcutta, but we'll have zonal chapters, and under each zone, we'll have about 10 to 12 chapters who would be regularly reporting to them. The Apex Committee, comprising the President and the Vice Presidents and the former immediate past President, would meet at least once a month over teleconference and twice physically during the year. The chapters are supposed to exercise certain disciplines which will be communicated to them. But what is important is that we create a value for money. We create an interest in the community so that the professionals who are joining the profession at a very young age or the ones who are already established, both would feel obliged and interested to be part of this institute. We have a lot to offer. IIM was created to be the professional body which will create policies, which will offer expert knowledge to the industry, and which would also shape the metallurgical education in the country. The core mandate remains the same. One of the biggest contribution of IIM over the years has been to create a very large alumni network through its associate membership program. The program has certain issues to be sorted out in terms of accreditation and recognition, but there's no denying the fact that this is one of the largest success of the institute in terms of offering an opportunity for those who are serving in steel industry and various other industries and organizations to acquire a bachelor degree equivalent associateship in engineering through distant education. There are certain weaknesses in this program, and we are going to make certain course correction very soon. But the institute today is not happy being only offering associate membership at the undergraduate level. Very soon we'll launch a postgraduate diploma program. And also we are keen to play a role in skill development of the country. Now knowledge plays a role, but training also is equally important for practices. So it is time that Indian Institute of Metals also come up with some very good mechanism to undertake courses or to offer courses for developing skill sets which are essential for running the activities in the industry. What does the country need today? The country needs innovation. In one of the launching program of a very major national initiative of the Government of India called Impacting Research, Innovation and Technology, or Imprint, the Honorable Prime Minister commented that science is universal, but technology should address to the local needs. How would that happen? That can happen marching towards self-reliance. While marching towards self-reliance, we must realize that nobody is going to give us technology on a platter. There are examples in the country available in the Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Space, where the country has proven that given a challenge, it can live up to the expectation and deliver. And that is the reason why we are the 6th nuclear energy harnessing nation in the world. We are the 11th nation in the world who can not only launch satellite, but also can earn money and be internationally competitive. We take pride in saying that we are a nation where we have done many firsts. Apart from being a 1.25 billion strong nation, we have many other things to be proud of, and we have a very long history. But looking ahead and also looking at the ground reality today, we have a lot more to achieve. But in my opinion, if we really want to march ahead, we must address and harness the biggest strength and resource that this country has today. Not just the population, the youngest population in the world that would emerge in another few years, even ahead of China. So if the country has to forge ahead, then we must create sufficient and strong and sustaining enabling mechanism so that the very young population of the country actually can emerge sufficiently enabled to take part in the growth process. And Indian Institute of Metals certainly play a role in the area of metallurgy and materials engineering. In terms of innovation, we often make a small mistake. Actually, it's not small. It has a far-reaching consequences. We tend to believe that science, engineering, technology are disparate objects. And I always argue that if science is the fundamental question of know why, and if engineering is all about know how to translate the fundamental knowledge, then technology, the last mile, is know what sells in the market. But these are not separate, disparate entities. They are all interlinked. And this is one thing that we all in academia, in industry, in every sphere who care for the country and its growth must realize that we must integrate with each other. In terms of somebody creates knowledge, there's no restriction that the same person cannot also translate knowledge. So a scientist cannot be a technologist is a misnomer, is a myth. So now is the time when we must focus on the major imperative for the future, and that is translation. We have proven ourselves to be the storehouse of knowledge, not now, for several thousands of years. But we also now need to compete with the rest of the world in terms of our ability to realize the knowledge into viable technologies and products. So there are very major government initiatives today, both addressing academic institutions, industry, where we should take part very seriously and then try to harness our potential to realize that dream. I would also like to offer a few sentences about the host institute, particularly for your benefit, sir. Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, happens to be the fourth oldest among the chain of IITs, founded in 1959, is founded over a piece of land which measures about 1,050 acres. And while touring in the morning across the campus, I explained to you that we manage everything here, the infrastructure, the utility, the manpower. But most importantly, we dedicate ourselves to pursuing only one single goal, and that is excellence. This institute takes pride in saying that we pioneered the computer science education in the country. We also pioneered material science education as a discipline in academic institutions in this country. If you take account of the illustrious Indians who have made us proud in India and abroad, there's every possibility a good section of them would be from this very institute. This institute has possibly the largest concentration of the highest level of awards and honors confined to one single institution. More than 30 companies have been incubated in the recent past, and about 30 more are now being incubated. The last company which got sold from this institution was valued 100 crore and was taken over by Roche. The institute deals with, like any other tertiary level institutes, with the knowledge space in either of the two ways: dissemination, which is teaching, or creation, which is research. But the institute now wants to move ahead, and I would like to re-emphasize not just Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, the entire IIT fraternity, and Indian Institute of Metals, no exception, that we all would now like to emphasize that India as a country should now be in the forefront and a leader in translation of knowledge to find solutions to the societal needs and challenges. So in this very function, after the ATM, when we celebrate the achievements of individuals and Ministry of Steel benevolently awards those prizes to the individuals, this is just to remind ourselves that this is a mechanism to recognize. This is also a mechanism to ask ourselves to rededicate for the cause, and that is to take the country forward. Before I close, it is my sacred duty to acknowledge the financial support received from the major industries of the country. I would certainly mention the big steel industries, particularly the Steel Authority of India Limited, Tata Steel, JSW. And for a change, we also got very major support this time from Ministry of Human Resource Development. I profusely thank the gold and the silver sponsors, all those who contributed to our souvenir and various other quarters. I must thank very profusely the Ministry of Steel, who have, over the years, since 1962, without an exception, have very steadily supported Indian Institute of Metals, not only by awarding prizes and taking care of the money part of it, but also mentoring us through various mechanisms. Various studies have been conducted by Indian Institute of Metal on the behest of the Ministry of Steel, and one of the recent one was manpower study for reaching a stage where the country would be in a position to produce 300 million tons of steel. We are a developing nation. There's no denying the fact that the country has to produce steel and deploy them, and of quality steel. There was a time, and probably even today, crude steel production is considered as an index of the development of a nation. From 82 to 300 million tons of steel is a long way to go, but I think the country is well poised for that, and I'm sure the Honorable Minister would certainly give us lights towards that. Finally, On behalf of the Indian Institute of Metal and on behalf of the Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur and every single delegate present in this meeting, I would like to thank profusely Honorable Minister for taking off his time and gracing this occasion. I know for one that he actually decided to skip a very important social function which has a very long-standing history in the Chhattisgarh region from where the minister hails. He skipped that function to be on time for today's function. So on behalf of the entire delegates here, sir, we express our deep gratitude to you. So with these few words, I would like to welcome you all again to this particular 54th National Metallurgists Day celebration. 3 days of deliberations certainly must have given us clues as to how we should move ahead. So it is now our job to take cues from that and then create the right action plan. And that's when that happens, the Indian Institute of Metal will have reasons to feel proud. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable comments and encouraging words. I now request Mr. S. Bharatwal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to address the gathering.
Honorable Minister Shri Vishnudev Sai, Professor Indranil Manna, Dr. Biswajit Basu, other dignitaries on the dais, the eminent awardees who are present here, distinguished guests, the faculty members of IIT, the students of IIT, ladies and gentlemen. I must thank Dr. Manna for holding this NMD award ceremony in IIT Kanpur today, because IIT Kanpur not only is the abode of the best talent in terms of professors and students here, but I came to know when I saw one very good book on the birds of India that IIT campus also hosts about 260 birds, and a lot of migratory birds all over the world land up here. I think that defines the campuses. It is not just the flora and the fauna, but the all kind of talent which a campus can attract that builds that campus, that builds that institution. And I am very proud that IIT Kanpur is one of such institutions. Dr. Basu mentioned about, and very rightly, the emerging trends in the metal sector, particularly in the steel sector. You are all aware that government is focusing on Make in India, government is focusing on infrastructure. Yesterday there was a very important comment which came in papers, is that government is going to spend about 25 lakh crores on infrastructure in next 5 years. Almost 5 lakh crores every year government will be spending on infrastructure. And we are going to raise our manufacturing, which is presently 17% of GDP, to almost 25% of GDP. You remember when China was growing, almost 40% of all the metals which were produced in the world were going to China. There was so much of demand in China because of their spending on infrastructure, etc., and they were trying to build it up rapidly, that global supplies were far less. And I do not blame China. They had nothing to depend upon. And they built up those capacities in the last 10 years. Although it's a different matter that because of those large capacities, the steel industry and the metal industry is facing a lot of problems. given the fact that, a huge growth potential exists in the country for the growth of metal sector, I think the role of academia cannot be less important. And whenever I come to institutions like this, I always think that what kind of role the academia should play in order that the industry comes up, it grows fast, and it comes to the aspirations of the public. Professor Manna is very right when he says that unless and until this kind of interrelationship between academia and what he rightly said, the science, the engineering, and the technology. I think we need to keep this in mind, that unless and until there is a transition from science to engineering to technology, academia may grow, but the industry will not grow. The capabilities of the industries will not grow. And we have a very bright example in terms of the growth in Korea, because when Japan was growing, and when Southeast Asian economies, they decided that although they may be very small, they may not be having a large domestic market to cater to, but if they have to grow, they have to look outwards, they have to cater to the demands which is coming up across the world, and they won't be able to do so unless and until they are highly competitive. And therefore you will find that in Korea, they developed a system whereby there was a close synergy between the academia and the industry. In fact, nowhere in the world, except perhaps for Caltech in US, that this kind of a phenomena emerged mainly in Korea. And everybody who deals with the steel sector or deals with the metallurgy sector is fully aware that the role POSTECH played in the development of Korean steel sector, particularly the POSCO. POSCO today is the most competitive company, steel company of the world. And the reason for that is that POSCO has a university which it not only funds, but it has a symbiotic relationship that whatever research takes place, there is a synergy between the industry and the academia, although some may say that they go to an extreme extent whereby even the research is patented by POSCO, whatever happens in POSTECH. But they have been able to build up technologies which are world class. In fact, you must have read recently, there was an article that POSTECH has developed one particular high strength kind of steel which can now compete with aluminum in the automobile industry. And they have patented it, and I think they are developing it. When we look at India, I find that if you look at the R&D budget of Government of India, particularly the Steel Ministry, you look first at the size of the steel industry. The size of the steel industry in India, if you, mix both the secondary steel sector as well as the primary sector or the integrated steel sector, it comes to about not less than 2.5 lakh crores. Now, global expenditure on R&D is almost 1% of that. If we look at India, that potential is almost 2,500 crores. Even if you exclude the secondary steel sector, where they may not be having that much of surplus to put into R&D, even if you take 50% of that, it is almost more than 1,000 crores. Government of India, from the plan fund, we ask for projects for say about 15 crores, that is our budget, plan budget. We keep additional 20 crores in our steel development fund. We have been asking for projects, and I'm sorry to say that we have failed to generate projects which can even spend that much of money. In fact, if you look at this transition, what Dr. Manna is talking rightly about it, from the science, technology to science, engineering to technology, we have not been moving on that path. And therefore, our capacities to spend on R&D are very, very constrained. So I think let us do a thinking on this issue, that how our R&D capacities in the country. Let me tell you from our example. We have only 2 national laboratories in India who are doing research in the steel sector or perhaps in the metallurgical sector. One is IMMT Bhubaneswar, another is NML Jamshedpur. Now most of the projects are coming from these 2 institutions only. I'm not saying that there is no talent. In fact, we are trying to promote IITs to build up their research capabilities. Of course, in Kanpur, because the nomenclature has changed from metallurgy to, I think, material science department here, although it doesn't make a difference, frankly speaking. But somehow we had decided that 4 centers of excellence should come up in the country, 1 each in 4 different directions, east, west, north, south. And we have taken up Kharagpur and BHU and Bombay and Chennai. And we are putting almost 35 crores each in those center of excellences. But somehow I think, the potential which exists in the country in terms of investment, and in fact, our parliamentary committees, our internal reviews, we have been saying that we have to raise this R&D expenditure from, which is presently existing between, it ranges from 0.03 to 0.56, say in sale, but still it is very, very low. And if it actually rises to say about more than 1,000 crores, in fact, I'm wondering that how we are going to build up those capacities to spend that money and to do that much of R&D. So I think this is one issue which we need to look at. We also need to look at what Professor Manna is saying, that how closely we can associate industry with the academia. Because what I feel, I do not know, perhaps IIT Kanpur must be doing many things more creatively, but somehow the way our internships are designed, I've seen many engineering institutions where students are just left to their own, their parents' phone, and they approach somebody here, somebody there, and then they get internship in the industry. There are very few plans where the student's career in terms of the industry exposure is planned in the universities. And I think we need to do so. If there is a metallurgy department, if there is a material and science department, I think we need to build up a sort of a system where student is looking forward that if he goes to that particular company, to that industry, to that plant, steel plant, what he is looking forward to. He must have studied theoretically, like when we joined service, we studied poverty theoretically. But when we went to the field, we saw what poverty is. And our concepts completely changed. Similarly, if you are doing, theoretical metallurgy or theoretical electronics, unless and until you go to the plant and see how things run, say for example automation. Somebody was telling me that Japanese steel industry has grown to such an extent that now they are globally competitive, they have the latest technology, is not because of metallurgy alone. They have identified about million numbers of steps which are involved from iron making to the finished product. And through their software systems, they have been able to achieve a level where if they want that the product has to come out of a specific metallurgy, it will be coming out because of these automation or software processes. So I think unless and until students are motivated to look at what is happening at the real economy and how their studies are connected to the real economy, perhaps we will not be able to grow the way some of the East Asian miracles have grown, or even China has grown. To improve that from the government side, we have taken up a small step with the help of the industry, that we have instituted Steel Research and Technological Mission of India, and we are hoping that this mission would be able to address these gaps which exist in the country. I do not want to take more of your time because Honorable Minister would be also speaking about what we are doing in the steel ministry. But I just want to end with saying that there is a huge potential which is going to come up in the metal sector in the economy, because we have yet to move to that, that fast curve which normally happens when there is industrialization. So metal sector would be one which will be a very, very challenging sector where a lot of innovations have to take place. And I will just give you one simple example. To develop automotive grade of steel, because if you look at the automotive sector, it's very fast changing in terms of the demand for the kind of HR coils which they require or the cold rolled coils which they require. And it takes about 2 years' time for the homologation process, whereby the kind of HR coil or CR coil or the metallurgical steel which you produce is as per the requirements of the automobile producers. It takes about 2 years' time. Now, this science, this engineering, this technology is so sophisticated. And therefore, unless and until we find those students who not only are very bright in terms of academic learning, but also are able to see what are the gaps between the demand of the customers and demand of the industry and the knowledge gap, and then build up upon that, we won't be able to move as fast as we are aspiring this country to move. So I leave this thought to you, and I hope and we will be your willing partners to take this movement forward. And we would definitely want that whatever kind of ideas they come up, they should be shared with us. And through this SRTMI and through our ministry's efforts, we would definitely want that a close synergy exists between the academia, the industry, and the government. So with this, I thank Professor Manna for holding this event here. I know that for last 3 days you have been engaged with a lot of technical sessions here, and I think a lot of churning has already happened. I'm very thankful to you. I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for agreeing to be the guest of honor for the function as well as for your invaluable comments. We are indeed privileged to have with us Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Steel, Government of India, Sri Vishnu Dev Sai. I now request Honorable Minister to release the souvenir for the function. The souvenir. Thank you, everyone. I now request Honorable Minister to address the gathering.
आज के समारोह में मंच में विराजमान आदरणीय श्री सुनील बर्थवाल जी, जेएस स्टील, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर मन्ना जी, प्रेसिडेंट आईआईएम, डायरेक्टर आईआईटी कानपुर, आदरणीय डॉक्टर विश्वजीत बसु जी, आदरणीय श्री एस के राय जी, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर राजीव शेखर जी, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर अनीश उपाध्याय जी, और आज के इस समारोह में उपस्थित सभी देवियों, सज्जनों, मीडिया के मित्रों, 54 राष्ट्रीय धातुकर्मी दिवस पुरस्कार समारोह के इस अवसर में आज प्रतिष्ठित धातुकर्मियों और वैज्ञानिकों के बीच आईआईटी कानपुर के इस शिक्षा केंद्र में उपस्थित होकर मुझे अत्यधिक प्रसन्नता हो रही है और मैं अपने को बड़ा सौभाग्यशाली समझ रहा हूँ। भारत और विदेशों से आए सुविख्यात धातुकर्मियों, वैज्ञानिकों, अध्यापकों, छात्रों और विशेषज्ञों के इस विशाल जन समूह को संबोधित करते हुए भी मुझे अत्यधिक प्रसन्नता हो रही है। मैं इस विशाल समारोह के लिए आईआईटी कानपुर और आईआईएम कानपुर चैप्टर को हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं। बहनों और भाइयों, जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, 14 नवंबर को हम सब राष्ट्रीय धातुकर्मी दिवस के रूप में मनाते हैं और मैं आप सब लोगों को राष्ट्रीय धातुकर्मी दिवस की शुभकामनाएं भी देना चाहूँगा। और हमारे वरिष्ठ मंत्री आदरणीय चौधरी बीरेंद्र सिंह जी की तरफ से भी इस दिवस की शुभकामनाएं देना चाहूँगा। अपरिहार्य कारणों से आज जो यहाँ पर उपस्थित नहीं हो पाए हैं। वास्तव में आज का ये दिन धातुकर्मी बंधुओं के लिए एक महान दिन है। आज के दिन देश एनएमडी पुरस्कारों और सर्टिफिकेट के रूप में राष्ट्र निर्माण में
धातु कर्मियों के योगदान को सम्मान प्रदान कर रहा है। जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, एनएमडी पुरस्कारों का एक लंबा इतिहास रहा है। पहली बार इसकी शुरुआत प्रतिष्ठित धातु कर्मियों को सम्मान देने की दृष्टि से वर्ष 1962 में की गई थी। मुझे यह भी जानकर प्रसन्नता है कि इस वर्ष एनएमडी पुरस्कार चयन समिति ने आज इस अवसर पर पुरस्कार और प्रमाण पत्र प्रदान करने के लिए विभिन्न धातु कर्मी क्षेत्रों के 13 प्रतिष्ठित धातु कर्मियों का चयन किया है। इसलिए सर्वप्रथम मैं उन सभी एनएमडी पुरस्कार विजेताओं को हार्दिक दिल से बधाई देता हूं। मैं विशेष रूप से डॉक्टर टी मुखर्जी, जो कि टाटा स्टील के पूर्व उप प्रबंध निदेशक तथा पूर्व ग्रुप डायरेक्टर R&D एवं प्रौद्योगिकी हैं, को विशेष रूप से बधाई देना चाहूँगा, जिन्हें प्रतिष्ठित लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। लोहा और इस्पात क्षेत्र में किए गए उनके योगदान पर पूरे देश को, हम सब लोगों को गौरव है। मैं डॉक्टर डी के लिखी, CMD मिधानी और डॉक्टर दीपांकर बनर्जी, प्रोफेसर IISc बेंगलोर को भी बधाई देना चाहूँगा, जिन्हें लोहा और इस्पात उद्योग, अनुसंधान एवं विकास तथा शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में उनके महान योगदान के लिए वर्ष 2016 के राष्ट्रीय धातु कर्मी पुरस्कार प्रदान किया जाना है। बहनों और भाइयों, मुझे इस वास्तविकता की भी जानकारी है कि इस पुरस्कार समारोह का आयोजन IIM की 17वीं वार्षिक तकनीकी बैठक के साथ साथ किया जा रहा है। मुझे यह भी बताया गया है कि IIM इस अवसर पर इंजीनियरों और वैज्ञानिकों को विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में उनके योगदान के लिए सम्मानित करता है। मैं सभी IIM पुरस्कार विजेताओं को भी हार्दिक दिल से बधाई देता हूं। मैं सेल के पूर्व अध्यक्ष श्री SK रुंगटा को भी हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं, जिन्हें धातु कर्मी उद्योग में कॉरपोरेट उत्कृष्टता के लिए प्रतिष्ठित IIM GRD टाटा अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। हम सभी जानते हैं कि हमारे देश के पास न केवल समृद्ध धातु कर्मी विरासत है, बल्कि यह लौह अयस्क, मैंगनीज अयस्क, क्रोमाइट, बॉक्साइट आदि जैसे विस्तृत खनिज संसाधनों से भी संपन्न है। तदनुसार भारत के धातु और खनन क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण अवसर विद्यमान हैं। लोहा और इस्पात इस प्रकार के दैदीप्यमान उदाहरणों में से एक हैं। भाइयों और बहनों, इस्पात उद्योग ने स्वतंत्रता के बाद एक लंबा सफर तय किया है। वर्ष 1947 में भारत की कुल क्षमता मात्र 1 मिलियन टन थी। आज भारत 120 मिलियन टन की कुल क्षमता और लगभग 90 मिलियन टन की उत्पादन क्षमता के साथ विश्व में इस्पात का तीसरा सबसे उत्पादक देश बन गया है। भारत बहुत शीघ्र इस्पात का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा उत्पादक बनने की ओर अग्रसर है। जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, भारत में स्टील की प्रति व्यक्ति खपत 61 किलोग्राम के आसपास है। भारत में स्टील खपत की विशाल संभावनाएं मौजूद हैं। हमें यह देखने की आवश्यकता है कि स्टील की क्षमताएं बढ़ती मांगों के अनुरूप हों। हमारी यह परिकल्पना है कि वर्ष 2025 तक देश में 300 मिलियन टन स्टील का उत्पादन करने की क्षमता अपेक्षित होगी। बहनों और भाइयों, जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, वर्तमान में भारतीय धातु उद्योग एक चुनौती भरे दौर से गुजर रहा है। इसमें इस्पात कोई अपवाद नहीं है। हमारा यह मानना है कि इस चुनौतीपूर्ण घड़ी को अवसर में बदलने की आवश्यकता है। इसके लिए सभी हितधारकों को एकजुट होकर नई सोच के साथ कार्य करने की आवश्यकता है। हमारी सरकार ने भारतीय स्टील उद्योग को सहायता प्रदान करने के लिए सेफगार्ड ड्यूटी, एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी और MIP इत्यादि जैसे कई अहम कदम उठाए हैं। हमें आशा है कि यह कठिन दौर गुजर जाएगा और हम बहुत ही जल्दी उच्चतर आर्थिक वृद्धि और परिणाम स्वरूप उच्चतर इस्पात खपत के अच्छे दिनों को पुनः प्राप्त कर लेंगे। हम सभी जानते हैं कि सरकार अवसंरचना, निर्माण, आवास और इंजीनियरिंग क्षेत्र जैसे महत्वपूर्ण अंतिम उपयोग करने वाले अनुप्रयोगों के लिए गुणवत्तापूर्ण इस्पात के उत्पादन को सुनिश्चित कर रही है। सरकार ने गुणवत्ता नियंत्रण आदेश अधिसूचित किए हैं, जिसके तहत सप्लायरों को भारत में इन अधिसूचित उत्पादों की बिक्री करने से पूर्व BIS रजिस्ट्रेशन लेने की अनिवार्यता है। इससे उपभोक्ताओं के लिए इस्पात उत्पादों की गुणवत्ता सुनिश्चित होगी। जैसा कि आपको मालूम है, हमें अपने इस्पात उद्योग को अधिक प्रतिस्पर्धात्मक बनाने के लिए अधिक R&D प्रयासों की जरूरत है। इस्पात मंत्रालय इस्पात उद्योग के लिए R&D की पहलों में तेजी लाने हेतु योजना निधि तथा इस्पात विकास निधि दोनों से वित्तीय सहायता प्रदान कर रहा है। हमने IIT में उत्कृष्टता केंद्र बनाने की स्कीम भी शुरू की है, ताकि ये संस्थान मौलिक अनुसंधान में अपनी क्षमताओं का विकास कर सकें। इसके तहत इस्पात मंत्रालय IIT एवं NIIT में छात्रों के लिए छात्रवृत्तियां सृजित करके धातुकर्म अध्ययन के प्रति अधिक प्रतिभावान छात्रों को आकर्षित करना चाहता है, ताकि वे भविष्य में महान धातुकर्मी बन सकें। मैं इस्पात के अनुसंधान में लगे हुए सभी भारतीय वैज्ञानिकों से अनुरोध करना चाहूँगा कि वे भारतीय स्टील उद्योग को विश्व स्तर पर प्रतिष्ठात्मक बनाने के लिए नए विचारों के साथ आगे आएं। बहनों भाइयों, इस्पात मंत्रालय राष्ट्रीय महत्व के अनुसंधान एवं विकास कार्यक्रम की देखरेख के लिए उद्योग की अगुवाई में एक संस्थानिक तंत्र स्टील रिसर्च एंड टेक्नोलॉजी मिशन ऑफ इंडिया SRTMI को भी मार्गदर्शन प्रदान कर रहा है। इस्पात मंत्रालय विदेशी सप्लायरों पर निर्भरता को कम करने हेतु इलेक्ट्रिक स्टील शीट CRGO के उत्पादन के लिए एक पायलट संयंत्र की भी स्थापना कर रहा है। यद्यपि सरकार इस चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में अपनी जिम्मेदारियों का निर्वहन कर रही है, तथापि उद्योगों के लिए यह आवश्यक है कि वे वैश्विक मानकों के अनुसार अपनी क्षमता में सुधार करें और उत्पादन की लागत को भी कम करें। ऐसा केवल विदेशों से सस्ते आयात के खतरे से निपटने के लिए ही आवश्यक नहीं है, बल्कि विश्व बाजार की प्रतिस्पर्धा में बने रहने के लिए भी आवश्यक है। मुझे इस बात की जानकारी है कि भारतीय इस्पात उद्योग का प्रौद्योगिकी चेहरा बड़ी तेजी से बदल रहा है और सरकार भी इस दिशा में तेजी से काम कर रही है। बहनों भाइयों, वर्तमान में यह भी महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम स्टील उत्पादन के कार्य को पर्यावरण अनुकूल बनाएं, ताकि सतत विकास की अवधारणा को इससे बल मिले। इस हेतु तकनीकी अनुसंधान की आवश्यकता है। मुझे विश्वास है कि यहाँ उपस्थित धातुकर्मी और विशेषज्ञ इस सम्मेलन के दौरान सभी मुद्दों पर विचार विमर्श करेंगे, जिससे रचनात्मक विचार एवं प्रस्ताव उभर कर सामने आएगा। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं एक बार फिर सभी पुरस्कार विजेताओं को बधाई देता हूं और राष्ट्रीय धातु कर्मी दिवस समारोह एवं IIM की वार्षिक तकनीकी बैठक की सफलता की कामना करते हुए मैं एक बार फिर से आप सब लोगों का अभिनंदन और स्वागत करते हुए अपनी बात का अंत करता हूं। आप सब लोगों को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद मंत्री महोदय। I now request Mr. Sadhan Roy, Secretary General, Indian Institute of Metals, to present the NMD Awards.
Thank you, Nilesh. Good morning to everybody. And on behalf of the Institute and on behalf of the Government of India and the total gathering, I congratulate all the prize winners and proceed with the NMD award declaration. I would request Honorable Minister Sri Sai and Sri Barthwal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to come forward to give away the prizes. And I would request Professor Manna and Dr. Biswajit Basu to escort them to the forefront of the dais. Let me remind you that as a tribute to the important role played by the metallurgists in the country's economic development, the National Metallurgist Day Award scheme was instituted by the Government of India, Ministry of Steel, way back in 1962. The Indian Institute of Metals was given the task to coordinate and do the administrative work in selection of the awardees. The NMD award is given on 14th November every year, as we are witnessing. It coincides with the birthday of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India and a champion of steel industries. Just a glimpse of the first NMD award in 1962, held at Bhilai Steel Plant. Now I have the proud privilege of calling upon the most prestigious award winner, Dr. Tridivesh Mukherjee, Independent Director, Bharat Forge Limited, and former Deputy Managing Director, Tata Steel. Lifetime Achievement Award is conferred on Dr. Mukherjee in recognition of his pioneering and phenomenal contribution to the growth of steel industries, especially in the areas of raw material, iron making, steel making, product development, production cost, and integrating research. Congratulations, Dr. Mukherjee. Dr. Mukherjee, please respond.
Honorable Minister, Sri Vishnu Sai, Joint Secretary Sri Barthawal, President, Indian Institute of Metals, Biswajit Basu, and other dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm greatly honored that you have selected me for this award. I receive this with sincere humility on behalf of all the members of a great team that I had the good fortune of leading. I make a confession. I'm not a self-made man. I received help and support from many. First, I thank my late parents who instill a sense of basic values in me, and my wife Shubhra for her enthusiastic support in good and bad days since we met. Dr. A.K. Seal, my professor at the BE College, Shivpur, for recognizing me whenever I could answer his probing questions from the first principle. I cannot forget the support that I received from late Dr. B.R. Nijavan, Director NML. He, on our first meeting, after a brief discussion, strongly recommended me to the to the MA course at the University of Sheffield. Mike Sellers was more than my research guide. He made me learn. And then, many years after my PhD on a physical metallurgy topic, he invited me to be a visiting lecturer at the postgraduate course on iron making and steel making at Sheffield. This was the greatest challenge in my life. And teaching students from all over the world was also my greatest learning. And my first boss, Ken Rydell, at the Special Steel Products Division of British Steel Corporation, gave me so much freedom that I took that as his confidence in me. Thanks to his sending me to a full-time residential public speaking course that I stand before you and speak confidently. I joined Tata Steel as an R&D engineer in 1971, and in my entire career, I spent 3.5 years in research, although many still call me at R&D ka Dr. Mukherjee. I did receive many recognitions for two main reasons. The freedom that I enjoyed thanks to people like Rusi Modi, J.J. Irani, and Ratan Tata, and second, because of the wonderful teams that I was a member of and sometimes I led. There were many talented, superb members of these teams. Far too many to mention, but allow me to take one name, Ashok Kumar, an alumnus of this institute who is there. And then there was Dr. Darapi Antia. He was more than just a past president of this great institute of IIM. He gave me challenges that established our institute internationally, and particularly in the field of alloy phase diagrams. Steel plants in India, be in private or public sector, give a metallurgist of my background a lot to contribute, not just to the steel plant, but to the country. That certainly was the case in 1971. I was absolutely passionate about bringing our performance at par with the best in the world. If the Japanese can do it, if the Germans can do it, we Indians can do it too. But the facilities at Tata Steel and many of the Indian steel plants were nothing to write home about. With sub-1 blast furnace productivity, 800 kg coke rate, and impossibly high hot metal silicon to have decent BOF steel making. Steel companies were protected by the government with licenses to operate and high tariff barriers. Our customers bitterly complained over quality and non-availability. This opened the door for creating and applying knowledge, learn from and make friends with the world leaders, and evolve our own journey to be amongst the top-ranking steel players in the world. The blast furnace productivity of 1 has been raised to close to 3. 800 kg coke rate brought down to 320, and silicon in hot metal brought down to reasonable levels for making a grand success with combined blowing in BOF steel making. Tata Steel made the best use of Indian raw materials by absorbing new technologies of coke making and investing in beneficiation and agglomeration of iron ore. Not surprisingly, Tata Steel was placed number 1 among the world-class steel makers in the ranking made by the New York-based World Steel Dynamics. And I became the chairman of the technology committee of World Steel Association, earlier International Iron and Steel Institute. Tata Steel became the major supplier of Japanese, South Korean, and other foreign automobile manufacturers in the country. Other steel plants followed. No one in this world can laugh at India or Indian steel technology. nor at the quality of our steel. Not anymore. हम किसी से कम नहीं. Yet we have a long way to go, a lot to be done. We need to break away from the suboptimal scale of R&D. This 3 crores, 5 crores that we are talking about, thousands of crores investment required in R&D, and breakthrough efforts to surpass the global players. I urge you all to do it. When I think back, I feel that it will be an act of selfish treachery if ever I think I am a self-made man. I thank all the names I mentioned and the countless others that I have in my mind for their help and unstinted support. I received this award on their behalf. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. Now I call upon Dr. Dinesh Kumar Likhi, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Dhatu Nigam Limited, for the prestigious National Metallurgist Award for the industry. The award is being conferred on Dr. Likhi in recognition of his outstanding leadership, farsightedness, and contribution to the growth of steel industry in India. Dr. Likhi, kindly keep your response within a very short time.
First of all, Mr. Dhatu Nigam Limited, where I am working, is under Ministry of Defence. So on behalf of Midhani, on behalf of Government of India, Ministry of Defence Production, I really thank Minister of Steel to recognize me as a national metallurgist for the industry. Thank you very much to Minister of Steel. Secondly, I am really humbled to get this award because when they were telling the upper limit is 70 and you are 56, and you get the award, you feel humbled and you feel that you have been recognized in the journey you started 36 back when you graduated from Roorkee. The journey which I started from Roorkee 1981 has been as a metallurgist, young metallurgist. I joined Escort and then joined Steel Authority. The mentors which I saw in academics, some of them were from Kanpur, some of them from Roorkee, has really given me some metallurgical knowledge which I could apply. During the stay at SAIL, some of the mentors are here, especially Mr. Rungta, Dr. Sanak Mishra, Monty. Thank you very much, sir. Whatever you have mentored me during my journey, it has been nice listening you, understanding from you. It's not that they are here. They have been very good mentor for me, and there are other people who are not here. I'm really thankful to the mentors from Steel Authority India, where I put my majority of the career, which is about 30 years or so. The last 6 years, I'm at Midhani, working for Government of Defence, Defence Production area in the area of metallurgy. What I could do, what T. Mukherjee are telling R&D ka Mukherjee, sir, I definitely look at you as a role model, not from the point of view just in the metallurgy, but making business modeling out of the metallurgical industry. I always migrated from metallurgy to management to the strategy, and now I've been trying to blend the basic mixture of how the strategy can be played in metal industry to make it world #1 in steel, and especially in the strategic sector, whether it's a missile sector or a defense sector or nuclear sector, whether we can be self-reliant in the metal industry. I think especially thanks to my wife who has stood by me, my parents who have gone back. I really thank to all the people who have given confidence to me. I don't want to speak because I didn't prepare the speech because I was not aware of that. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Dr. Likhi. The National Metallurgist Award for Research and Academia goes to Dr. Dipankar Banerjee. This award is being conferred on Dr. Dipankar Banerjee in recognition of his outstanding contribution to mathematical modeling for process performance optimization in various metal extraction production processes. Yes, sir.
Honorable Minister, Joint Secretary Steel, Dr. Manna, Dr. Basu, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to the Ministry of Steel, to the Minister, and to the Indian Institute of Metals for this honor and this recognition today. The Indian Institute of Metals, I think, binds together a wonderful community of materials engineers. It offers an opportunity for young scientists, a first platform for their growth. And I must have started my professional career by giving my first talk at the annual technical meeting of the Indian Institute of Metals. So I cherish this moment. As a past president of the Indian Institute of Metals, I want to also wish its current president and all the future presidents sitting here all the best successes in their journey to grow the organization and the community that it represents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Banerjee. Now we move to Metallurgist of the Year award. And I call upon Dr. M. Vasudevan to receive the award. Dr. Vasudevan is being conferred this award in recognition of his significant contribution in the field of metallurgical researches. Thank you. Next in line is Dr. Sanjay Kumar Dua, Deputy General Manager, R&D, RDCIS Sale. The award is being conferred on Dr. Dua for his significant contribution to the ferrous metallurgical research, including development of HSLA-80 steel for Indian Navy, HCR TMT rebars, fulfilling various stringent requirements. Thank you, Dr. Dua. Next in line is Dr. Tathikonda Raghu from DMRL, Hyderabad. Dr. Raghu is being recognized of his significant contribution in non-ferrous metallurgical research program for Indian defense sector, covering various areas related to the development of technologies in diversified industries. Thank you, Dr. Raghu. Dr. Raghavendra Tiwari is the next recipient from Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. The award is being conferred on Dr. Tiwari for his significant contribution to the metal science research involving phase transformation, electron microscopy for development of new alloys. Thank you, Dr. Tiwari. Next, I will call upon Professor Kantesh Balani, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Professor Balani is being recognized for his contribution, significant contribution to the metal science research encompassing biocoatings, dental implants, energy materials, ultra-high temperature materials, etc. Thank you. The next Metallurgist of the Year award goes to Mr. Subhajit Mitra Mujumdar, Assistant General Manager, Environment Group, RDCIS, SAIL, Ranchi. This is in recognition of his contribution in developing of systems, processes, technology, strategies, interventions and innovations for improving plant productivity in steel making water circuit. Thank you. I switch over to Young Metallurgist of the Year award and I call upon Ms. Anindita Chakravarti, R&D Division, Tata Steel. Ms. Chakravarti is being recognized for her noteworthy contribution to the surface engineering research constituting development of thermal balance model for zinc bath in continuous galvanizing at Tata Steel. Thank you. I call upon Dr. Deepak Kumar Sahu from Bhava Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. Dr. Sahu is being recognized for his noteworthy contribution in development of indigenous technologies for preparing rare earth magnetic alloy powder for raw materials found in India. Thank you. I call upon Dr. Karthik Prasad, Bhava Atomic Research Center, Trombay, Mumbai. DMRL, sorry, I stand corrected. This award is being conferred on Dr. Prasad in recognition of his noteworthy contribution in research on mechanical behavior of metals with special emphasis on understanding the deformation and fracture mechanism. Thank you. This year the Certificate of Excellence goes to Dr. Shivbrat Singh, Professor, Department of Materials Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. I'm afraid he is not available here to receive the award, so we'll send it to him. Now I switch over to Quality Awards, Quality and Sustainability Award. Just to give you an idea, the Quality Award instituted by Ferrous Division of Indian Institute of Metal in the year 1991 to encourage the quality management system. Since 2006, this has been renamed as Sustainability Award. And the awards are in the category of integrated steel plant, secondary steel and alloy steel plants, and DR units, pig iron units, major re-rollers. This year, the first prize goes to Tata Steel Jamshedpur. I would request Mr. Anand Sen and his team to come forward and receive the award. Thank you. The second prize goes to JSW Steel Vidyanagar. Thank you. Under the secondary steel plant and alloy steel plant category, the first prize goes to JSW Steel Limited, Salem Steel Works. Thank you. For the DR plants and pig iron units, the first prize goes to Tata Metallurgists, Kharagpur. So far we talked about steel plants, but IIM encompasses non-ferrous also. So we have IIM non-ferrous Best Performance Award as well. These are also categorized under plants of large integrated production units, secondary processing and fabrication plants, and units engaged in casting and forging on non-ferrous metals and alloys. This year the first award under the large integrated production organization goes to Vedanta Limited, Jharsuguda. Thank you, sir. I will request to take your seat and request you again to give away the GRD Tata Award. Please, please, I have to bring somebody. May I request Mr. Anand Sen to come on the dais. This is IIM Special Award called IIM GRD Tata Award for Excellence in Corporate Leadership in Metallurgical Industry. In the diamond year 2006-2007 of the Institute, coinciding with the centenary year of Tata Steel, suggestions were received to institute special award in recognition in the honor of J.R.D. Tata, the IIM National Council unanimously resolved to the institute the special IIM J.R.D. Tata Award for Excellence in Corporate Leadership in Metallurgical Industry. I would like to keep you informed about the former recipients, starting from Ratan Tata, Sri Ratan Tata, Sri B. Muthuraman, Dr. Sridharan, Sri Devnarayan Bhattacharya, Sri Sanak Misra, Sri H.M. Nirurkar, Sri C.S. Verma, Dr. Baba Kalyani, and Sri M. Narayan Rao. This year, the prestigious award goes to Mr. S.K. Rumta for his dynamic corporate leadership. I call upon Mr. Rumta to please come forward. And Minister Sir, I would request you to come forward and give away the recognition. Mr. Barthwal, please. Mr. Rumta happens to be former chairman and managing director, Vedanta Aluminium, and former chairman, SAIL. Sir, can we have your response?
Honorable Minister, Mr. Barthwal, Professor Manna, Mr. Sen, Dr. Basu, distinguished colleagues, delegates, friends. In fact, I am extremely grateful to jury IIM for conferring this honor on me. In fact, this honor goes to the entire fraternity of steel and metal industries, to which I belong to. My entire 44 years have been spent in the steel industry and last 5-6 years in aluminum and power industry. Well, a lot of things have been said, but I can only add in a minute that steel and metal industries are going to be the central and focal for India's quest for infrastructure development and Make in India program. And I am sure this industry will rise to the occasion, and we have a lot of inherent strengths, and we have seen leadership at all levels, including the innovative spirit, and as many speakers said, that it is the innovation, and I will add the entrepreneurship, will really take us forward. And I am pretty sure that our industry will play its role in the nation's development. As chairperson of IIT Bhubaneswar, I had occasion to interact and see Dr. Manna, very passionately pursuing his projects with excellence. And I am sure as president of IIM, he will do a great job in taking IIM to new heights and pursuing the similar excellence here. So thank you very much once again for this honor.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon, thank you everybody, please. Thank you. Now I have to request Professor Anish Upadhyay to come on the dais and propose a vote of thanks. He told me the other way.
Honorable Chief Guest, Sri Vishnu Dev Sai Ji, Guest of Honor, Sri Sunil Bharatwal, esteemed dignitaries on the dais, delegates from India and abroad, representing academia, industry, and research establishments, students, members of press, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a matter of great pride and privilege for me to welcome you to the 54th NMD celebrations being organized here at IIT Kanpur. I would like to start by thanking our Honorable Minister for consenting to be the chief guest and for taking time off his busy schedule to grace this occasion. Both the 54th National Metallurgists Day celebration being concurrent and 70th Annual Technical Meeting is being jointly organized by Indian Institute of Metals, its chapters from Kanpur and Pune, DMSRD, Department of Material Science and Engineering, IIT Kanpur. The event provides a platform to all interested in the field of materials to share their thoughts, exchange ideas for developing better materials, and improve processes, and contributes towards various scientific facets of material research. The event of this magnitude would not have been possible without the wholehearted support from all the stakeholders. On behalf of the organizers, I wish to thank the Ministry of Steel for nurturing, supporting, and sustaining the activities in the area of metallurgical engineering since its inception. The complementary role being played by IIM has ensured that this celebration becomes a showcase annual event that all associated with materials and metallurgical field aspire to be part of. I wish to specially acknowledge the able guidance and mentorship that has been provided to us by our esteemed senior members of IIM fraternity, which includes several of its former presidents and vice presidents, many of whom are present here today with us. The support received from the present office bearers of IIM headquarters is also gratefully acknowledged. I wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to all our departmental faculty and staff colleagues and student volunteers for their tireless efforts in ensuring that the event goes on well. This event, the success of any event for that matter, hinges on the enthusiastic participation from the delegates and your response. We are privileged to have you here with us and look forward to continued association with you. देवियों और सज्जनों, शायद मेरा ये धन्यवाद ज्ञापन को विराम देना अनुचित होगा आपको इस बात के प्रति इंगित करने के लिए कि आज का दिन और आज का अवसर जब ये हम सेलिब्रेशंस रख रहे हैं, ये कोइंसाइड करता है पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के जन्म दिवस से। हमारे समक्ष तो वो नहीं है हम, लेकिन उनके द्वारा दिए गए सिद्धांत, उनकी द्वारा दी गई देश को प्रौद्योगिकी रूप से स्वावलंबी बनाने और औद्योगिकी रूप से सक्षम बनाने की जो आधारशिला इस स्वतंत्र भारत के शुरुआत में जो प्रदान की गई, शायद यही ये कारण, बड़ा कारण रहा हो कि आज का ये दिन हमेशा से ही इस 54वें अपने संस्करण में भी हमेशा से आज का दिन 14 नवंबर को ही मनाया जाता है। तो इस अवसर पे मैं ज़रूर आभार करना चाहूँगा उस समय के प्रणेताओं द्वारा स्थापित की हुई ऐसी प्रणाली का, जिसके साथ शायद आज हम सभी लाभार्थी हैं। धन्यवाद। खेद प्रकट करना चाहूँगा इस बात का कि शायद हम लोग की जो व्यवस्था इस श्रृंखला में एक बहुत अहम कड़ी है, एक स्मृति चिन्ह प्रदान करने की हमारे चीफ गेस्ट को। तो मैं आग्रह करना चाहूँगा हमारे निदेशक महोदय प्रोफेसर इंद्रनील मन्ना कि वो हमारे आज के मुख्य अतिथि को एक स्मृति चिन्ह प्रदान करें। तदोपरांत मैं आग्रह करना चाहूँगा हमारे वाइस प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर विश्वजीत बासु को कि हमारे आज के अतिथि श्री सुनील भरतवाल जी को एक स्मृति चिन्ह प्रदान करें। धन्यवाद। इस सभा का समापन राष्ट्रगान द्वारा होगा। आप सभी से अनुग्रह है कि अपने स्थान पे खड़े हों और हमारे इस प्रांगण के एक विद्यालय के विद्यार्थियों द्वारा सुर में सुर मिलाते हुए राष्ट्रगान का गायन हो। तत्पश्चात हम सब टी ब्रेक के लिए बाहर आधे घंटे के लिए सम्मिलित होंगे और फिर पुनः यहीं पे आके जो IIM अवार्ड्स है उसकी सेलिब्रेशंस प्रारंभ होगा। धन्यवाद।
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग। विंध हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग। तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
यहाँ से आ जाएगा,
हाँ हाँ,
अब इसमें चला जाएगा।
अभी तो ये क्या करेंगे?
IIM award।
IIM अवार्ड सर।
ये चालू कैसे होगा?
सर ये तो डॉक्टर डे सरकार ही देखेंगे अभी।
हाँ।
डॉक्टर डी डे सरकार,
हाँ,
जॉइंट
Joint
हाँ सॉरी, ऑनररी
Treasurer।
ऑनररी ट्रेजरर एंड जनरल सेक्रेटरी
joint and secretary.
एंड